So now it's live. Sure is temperamental. Now I think I'm live everywhere. Good morning. Testing volume. Yeah, it seems to be coming through. Yeah. I had an update on something called an OBS software, which is the software that facilitates that I can stream on YouTube and also create this this live audio feed, which has no latency. So if you sometimes think that there's latency on YouTube, go to my Telegram channel and then seek out that divergent link that I press, divergent link that I publish every morning, and click on that, because there you'll have 0.5 second latency, so practically no latency at all. But I should also be up and running on Telegram. So good morning, everybody. I hope you're well. I hope you're well rested and ready to go. I would like to just start off with a practical announcement, and that is that today I'll be here and I'll trade live with you as normal. And tomorrow I will be trading with you in the morning, but in the afternoon I know for certain that I will not be able to trade with you. And Thursday, unfortunately, I have an appointment to find out what's going on with my eyes. Ironically, and isn't that the case, you wait for a specialist to be free, and as you're waiting, you whatever ailment it is that you had, it's getting better. And so yesterday and today I haven't really had any issues. I'm gonna go to the appointment anyway, but I'm just hoping that, I don't know if you can get infections in your eye. But anyway, so to me Thursday is a little bit uncertain. But Friday should be normal. I don't know if you have any plans for Easter. I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if you know this, but in Europe, you know how you celebrate Good Friday and Easter Monday, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, or second Easter day is Monday. But in Europe, we have something called, and please forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday. I might just have to look that up. Maundy Thursday. It's a strange word. All right, so Maundy Thursday, also known as Holy Thursday, commemorates the Last Supper of Jesus Christ with his apostles, marking the beginning of the Easter. Wow, there are some words I don't know here. Triduum, and the institution of the Eucharist. It is celebrated as a day of reflection and a call to action, reminding Christians of humility, service, and love. So there you go. That's Maundy Thursday. So there's a few holidays coming up in April, and I have a sort of an unwritten rule that if there's a holiday somewhere, so if there's a holiday in the US market, I tend to be very careful with trading the European markets. Not the other way around. The US seem to be quite self-sufficient and independent. So if there's a holiday in Europe, but the US is open, the US tends to be acting as normal. And if there's a half day in the US, I tend to stay away from that. So there you go. So now that little public service announcement is out of the way, I will come up with a schedule for what I'm going to do in April, but you can be pretty sure that from around the 7th, no, from the week starting the 14th of April, I am probably going to take that week off, because in Europe, Thursday and Friday are public holidays. But what people do in Europe is they tend to take the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off. So they take 3 days off, and then they have a full week off. And that means that many of my friends that I don't get to see so often, they actually they have time off as well. So I think you can expect me to take the 14th of April and that entire week off, and definitely also the 21st, because that's a Easter Monday and their markets are closed. I don't know if NYSE is closed. NYSE holidays 2025. So according to the New York Stock Exchange website, Good Friday is definitely closed, but they don't seem to celebrate Easter Monday, which was the 21st. At least not what I can see here. Okay. I don't know what's going on in the FTSE, but I just want to show you a weekly chart of the DAX. That's where I wanted to start today. And so what you're seeing here right now is a weekly chart of the DAX. And, well, you have a very strong uptrend since the beginning of January 2025. And interestingly, you had one test of the prior week's low here, and again here, and that was immediately bought up. So last week's low was 22,714. We're currently trading at 871, with a low this week of 793. Now we are it's Tuesday, so there's still plenty of time to go for this week. But if I was to hazard a guess, I would say that if we are going to see a test of these lows, that could be a place to be a buyer if you are a swing trader. Of course, the way I trade is much more centered around patterns on the 5-minute, the 10-minute, and the 15-minute chart, and also blending in with that the overnight range. And for that end, I use a piece of software that I have developed that sits on top of the broker that I'm trading with. And I use things like school run, aggressive school run, and the likes. So we owe it ourselves to just look at the FTSE as well. Let me get rid of this. And so here's the FTSE. FTSE had a particularly bad week a few weeks ago, and since then have been essentially been trading inside a trading range. We had a test of the prior week's low here. The prior week low was 8613. The market went 86. No, it actually went 8697, so it went 10 points below. And we are sat at the top end of the range. And here's the FTSE on a 5-minute chart right now. So that sums up my sort of grand view on the market. And then it becomes a question of day trading it. I took this position in the FTSE. It was actually meant as a bit of a it was a few days ago. It was like I traded a position on the 21st at £1 a point. It was sort of meant as a, oh, like, let me just see if I can buy a swing low. And I didn't think much of it. I didn't even think to tell you. But then this morning I bought one more at 8642 just because I was a little bit in profit. But the FTSE has really exploded this morning, and without having really done any meaningful work for it, I'm up £100 on this position. So there you go. And I sat yesterday after we finished, and I sat and I scalped the Nasdaq and the Dow, and I posted some of the trades, not in real time, I admit, but just as educational. But if I sort of show you, I'll show you the chart. I had just this philosophy of, well, I want to try and be a buyer below prior bar low. And when you are in a trading range, which we were yesterday in the Nasdaq, if you acknowledge it's a trading range and you're not, shorting breakdowns and buying breakouts, but you just keep betting that the market will, if I can call it, mean reverse, you can make a hell of a lot of points. And I sat there on both my big account and my small account, and I was just trading singles, basically. One entry, I think in the Nasdaq it was just £2 a point. And well, I won't just talk about my big account because the focus here is on this account. And I just kept picking up 10, 15 points, 10, 15 points. And I had no losers because I used a bigger stop loss than my profit target, which is, it may seem counterintuitive, but it really isn't if you understand the premise behind it. If you are in a trading range and you're not betting on a breakout, you may have to. So, for example, the difference between the low here was 129, 20,129, but it went as low as 20,110. So if you had the stomach for, all right, this market is just going to move as much as 25 points against me, you were almost certain to be rewarded just for this range. And so I kept, and this is a 5-minute chart, I kept sort of, whenever I had an opportunity, buy below prior bar low, buy below prior bar low. But I never really overstayed my welcome. It's just, okay, so I was quick to, or lucky to, avoid something like this, and then buy below prior bar low, buy below prior bar low. And ironically, I didn't do anything sell above prior bar high, although it could have worked yesterday. I was just sort of in buy mode because I felt that the market was very bullish. So yeah, and so it kind of added up. Wow, that's what's happening right now in the Nasdaq. It's weak. So let's have a look at the overnight range. That was the first 15-minute bar of the DAX. I'd like to draw the overnight range. I think this box sums up the overnight range fairly well. The DAX double topped within the overnight range. The low of the overnight range is about 40 points lower from here. And the DAX and the FTSE are doing opposite things. So I want to be a buyer of the DAX here below a prior bar low. If I can, I'm probably just going to see if this is a 2-bar reversal. I'll wait 3 minutes before I enter. That's why I got this countdown timer here. The countdown timer is a very important tool in my trading because it alerts me to when the bar is complete. I mean, there was something that Al Brooks got me onto. He describes it as buy on close or sell on close. I use it in a modified version, as we all do, because I think that's the role of mentors, is that they plant a seed in our minds, and then we take that idea and we go, oh, well, I see it a little differently. I would like to trade it this way. And for me, and which is I'm writing extensively about in my new book, is I want to short above prior bar high. So I need to wait for that bar to finish, and then I'll have an order immediately to sell the moment it gets above. But anyway. On a completely unrelated note, I was watching a program yesterday about a series of American basketball players, high league basketball players. It was on Netflix, and there was a feature or segment about it, about a gentleman called LeBron James, and I'm just gonna make sure I pronounce that right. So I chuckled because there was an interview with LeBron James's other half, and yesterday I wasn't feeling very well because I had overtrained over the weekend and I was really fatigued. And it was funny to hear LeBron James's wife say that when he was rested, he was the nicest guy in the world to be around. But when he was not rested and he was fatigued, or hadn't slept enough, he was really bloody miserable and grumpy. And I always think that's exactly how I am. If I am rested, I have the worst jokes in the world and I can sing Autobahn. But if I'm tired, I'm like, I'm not that pleasant to be around. I acknowledge that. And if I have stepped on anybody's toes during that period, I do apologize. Just 1 minute pause. So buyers have so far stepped in below prior bar low. They actually stepped in when they had an opportunity to buy below the well, if I show you on the 30-minute chart, you can see it better. You see how they stepped in. That 30-minute bar below the 30-minute bar before the market opened. They stepped in here. The low was 844. Buyer stepped in at 838. That's a good place to buy. Let me just get rid of the aggressive school online. I just want to show you that principle. So, maybe not as pronounced here. You have a quite a significant bar 30 minutes earlier. Has a low of 946. And the buyers begin to step in below that down here, which was the low of the overnight range. I'll show you another example here. 637. You see how buyers are stepping in here. There. See that? Right there. It's being bought back up again. And then caves in. But not so much here. Anyway, let's get back to it. Okay. So we have two negative bars. So I would very much like to be a buyer at some point down here in this area here around 8. So the low is 862 and we're currently trading at 864. Probably reduce my stake size a little bit, but I'll take a chance of being a buyer in the FTSE down here. 862, see if I can get a a more appealing entry. Going over to the over to the Dax. So the first 5-minute bar today in the FTSE is positive. So my software will tell you that that is what we call a first bar positive sell signal. And the FTSE closed at 8638. So we have a big gap up today in the FTSE. The DAX actually just filled the gap. Do you see that? And is now pushing higher. So if the school run bar were to close here, we would most certainly have an anti set up, as I see it. So if it completed right here, if it completed right here, it's not completed, but if it did, we would under normal circumstances be buyers above the second 15-minute bar, and we would sell short below. But because because we're inside the overnight range, the research suggests that what we should be doing would be to sell short above, and we should buy below. FTSE is just setting up here. So I'm buying the FTSE here. Just bought the FTSE here at 8665, buying below prior bar low. Let me just post that on Telegram. $8665.10. I'm going to use a stop loss of 8650.51. So let me just amend this stop loss. 8651. Save. So what I have done, ladies and gentlemen, is I've bought below prior bar low at the low end of the range at 8665.1. Have you ever noticed how rare it is to get an even number fill? So anyway, I just spotted that out of the corner of my eye, so let's just go back to so here's the current setup in the DAX, and that completes in approximately 2 minutes. So let's look at what's going on. I have a position on in the FTSE, which is about break even. Just bought below a prior bar low. In the ideal world, I would have gotten a fill at 8662, but I decided to use the last 5-minute bar as my proxy for entering a long position in an uptrend, buying the first retracement. Right now I am 2 points offside, and I put my stop loss down here. The FTSE current 15-minute bar will close in 30 seconds. So here we go. So how I read this is that this market is, let's see, my software just highlighted the lines. But in the newest edition of the software we're working on, we want to be buyers down here now. So I'm just lining up for that possibility. And we want to be sellers above. Why is that? Well, because it's taking place inside the overnight range. So perhaps this is a better perspective of it. Now it's just a question of being patient. just show you what's going on with my FTSE position. I am 3 points offside. I bought it at 8665. It's currently trading at 8663. These two smaller positions, they are sort of, I don't know what they are, swing trades. Okay, please stand by in the DAX for what seems to be going to be a short position. The high is 890. We just hit 888.65. So I'm shorting the DAX here at 22,892. And I have initial stop loss at 961. So let me show you what that looks like on my monitor. My DAX position is going well, and my FTSE position going well, and my DAX position is offside, or was offside. I'm going to add to my FTSE here at 70, doubling up. So I'll show you my FTSE. I added to the FTSE at 8670. What's not so good about the DAX position I want to show you is how it came back and then immediately rallied. So let me show you on a 1 minute chart. Cleared out the stops, came back, but was bought up immediately again. That tends to not to be so good. I will attempt to move my stop loss down. So just to clarify, I'm short the DAX. And the reason why I'm short the DAX is because I gauged that this school run took place inside the overnight range. And it in effect is creating a trading range. And it makes more sense for me to be short here than being long. A traditional school run would have dictated that I should be long here, but I've done the opposite. I'm currently down by 18 points. My FTSE, it's a different disposition. I bought below prior bar low. I think that it's likely we're going to see new highs, and that's what I'm playing for. So of course the irony here is that what I'm making in the FTSE, I'm losing on the DAX. So the FTSE is now trading above the 10-minute bar high. So I'm going to ease out of the second ad, sorry, the first ad, and I'm going to move stop loss to break even on the first. So taking profit on the second, and I'm keeping the first, and stop loss is now break even. My DAX position, I feel, is being undermined here, and this is not looking good. Stand by on the FTSE to add. Just bought the FTSE again. I'm going to take profit on the last FTSE. I'll show you the transaction. So here are the transactions for this morning. I'm wondering if I should just accept defeat in the DAX. Or half my size. But we are still on the 15-minute chart, and even on the 30-minute chart, it looks like a trading range to me. Do you see that? While on the FTSE it's much clearer breakout. But I am short and caught. We used to have these sayings: long and wrong, short and caught. And notice how the DAX stopped below prior bar low, and how buyers came in right there. 904, and they went 901. Buyer stepped in. So is it double top or is it breakout? Well, I think the DAX just answered that question for me. I think I'm like 3 points from being stopped out in the DAX. Whoa, just gap through it. So the traditional school run worked, the anti did not work. Shame. I'm going to take profit here on a double top in the FTSE. Let me just show you the transaction history. Chunky loss in the DAX, somewhat redeemed by the win in the FTSE. Lost, call it 400. Minus 150, that's 250. Minus another 50. So I still lost £200, you know, in round numbers. That sucks. that hurt. Oh well. That's kind of my morning. I swung the bat on a short position, and that was absolutely not the right thing to do. So this chart here is a keeper. For sure. So that's status. Still have a euro-dollar opening order. I cleared the deck, and a losing morning for me. And the account sitting at 21,337. Damn. How could I have done this differently? What did I do wrong here? It's inside the overnight range. It tested it, came down. Came down. Yes, I did see that it filled the gap. Trigger came here, short here. Bollocks. Damn. Oh well. Something to think about. I'm forgetting to perhaps praise myself a little bit. That was a good entry down here. And add-ons, they were good as well. Add-on down here at prior bar low. I'm playing for double top. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's an insight into my world. A Dax loser, playing the ante rather than traditional because of the context, and I was wrong. And a FTSE trade that pretty much worked out as planned. But overall, still ending me with a loss for the morning. And a little bit of slippage, unfortunately. Okay, well, thanks a lot for being here. I'm gonna sign out and do some thinking. It was nice trading here with you. I hope you enjoyed it. If nothing else, for the education. Take care of yourself. Stay strong. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.